Welcome to Mr. Wilson Live. It's another Sunday evening. I'm very happy that you're here with me. And of course, I am extremely happy to be here with you. Welcome from wherever you are in the world. And of course, this is definitely a place where learners want to be on a Sunday evening. It is definitely a sacrifice to be here on a Sunday evening because we're missing out on the good time, Sunday martini and family time and a nice Sunday dinner. But guess what? It is said somewhere around the place that if you want good, then your nose have to run. I think it's a Jamaican proverb. If you want good, then it means that you have to put in some work, and in putting in that work, you're going to face with some strain. This evening, we're going to be looking at reproduction in animals, or one might say reproduction in human. That promises to be a very interesting lesson, and reproduction, as it were, will take us into the entire week. So we started reproduction on Friday. We're going to be doing reproduction today. We're going to be doing reproduction on Wednesday. We're going to be doing reproduction come Friday as well. Friday of next week, we're hoping that we'll be able to finish reproduction. And there are some little things I want to look at, as it were, with reproduction in plants and some graphs. I really want to look at some graphs with the students who are doing biology. The Yengers, the national bike. Right. So definitely we have it all planned out as to how we are going to cover it. One might ask, why is sir not covering this in one lesson? No. That is going to be too much on you. I'll have to teach about pregnancy. I'll have to teach about birth control. I'll have to teach about the menstrual cycle. All of those we'll have to cover. And in order to ensure that you are learning, and I am not just packing you with information, I have to ensure that I space it properly. Now, if you have not yet liked, share, or subscribe, it is time for you to do so. But let me back up a bit on the subscription stuff. If you don't like the show, probably it's not wise to subscribe. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but I think that person should subscribe to something that they like. All right? When you subscribe to something that you like, of course, you are going to enjoy being here. If you just want to be here today just to try out the show, that's fine. You can come on over. The show is free. We are on here on a Sunday, Wednesday, and of course Friday at 5:05 p.m. and we're indeed streaming from Jamaica. So I was just telling you about the lineup of the show up to next Friday. Now, after next Friday, next week Sunday, all things being well, we are going to be touching mitosis. Next week Sunday, all things being well, we are going to be touching mitosis. Hopefully, we'll be able to finish mitosis. It's always a risky thing to teach mitosis and then meiosis. I really don't want that type of a thing because for those persons who are just coming into the whole concept of mitosis and meiosis, it might be a little confusing. So what I might do for next week Sunday is to teach mitosis and teach another topic. And then on Wednesday now, I will teach meiosis because I don't want the confusion. If there's one thing you should even remember about mitosis and meiosis is that Mr. Wilson taught mitosis on the Sunday and meiosis on the Wednesday. If it's even that, I really don't want to teach them in the same class. So you might find that I'm teaching mitosis, and at the end of mitosis, which should take me about an hour to teach, and then the other hour, I will use it for something else. The bio student must be saying, yeah. You know why? And I am like, sad face. I'm having sad face because my system is just not working like I want it to. I cannot upload, I can't process a video and audio at the same time anymore. I don't know what is happening. I have to, like I said last week, I have to take out the audio and then I have to voice over. So the video I put up today, it took me 7 hours to get it on the internet. And it's just 40 something minutes. It took me 7 hours to get it there. I had to voice it. Having voiced it, then I had to listen it. Audio not working, I had to cut off the audio. Then I had to go through now, and then the timing was wrong because I did it slower when I was doing it at first. Do it a little faster when I was voicing over. And while I was voicing over, I realized that I am off a little bit with the timing, and then you have to go through and edit and cut it up, and I put in some little animation, something like some little graphic, something. I have a new software and you see some fire going across the screen. I sort of make it look a little pretty. If you sort of like the pretty something on it, just tell me. If you want some more fire and some halo and all of those stuff, Just tell me. There are some topics there that are really, really hot, and we had to flame it up. And you are seeing now that pretty much my title page has fire in it now. I like the fire thing. You know, I like the fire thing. I don't like to burn down anywhere, but I just like fire as that graphic stuff. I really like it. All right, so everybody's here. Persons are all zooming in. Let me see what is happening, being that you're big, bold, and well zoomed now. All right, so we have De Sosa. De Sosa is here. Good evening, and I'm happy that you are here. We have Otisha Gray from Guyana, who is always here. Jawawan is also here, and she's going to be leaving early as usual, I think, but she's always here. Treasure is here as well. Martin is here as well. Simpson is here as well. Zaril is here as well. And Desosa. Powell is here. But Powell is here sometime and sometime not here. Powell, you probably should tell me what's happening. Brett Waite, I hope that I have pronounced that correctly. He's here. Good evening. And of course, Gravity is here. Gravity is here sometime, but we do appreciate that Gravity is here. And out of London, we have Zed Beck, Zafia Beckford. I think that's Zafia Beckford from London, and he's tuning in and will be here for a little while. But we are really putting on the fire like Capleton, as Zaf would have said there. Jawawan, no, I am not leaving early today. Here for the full class. Beautiful. Now, today is a class that we're going to be looking at both biology and HSB. By this, you would have been aware that the last class, what we did was a whole lot of biology, but today it's going to be a whole lot of both bio. It's sort of evenly placed now. Evenly placed. The truth is, in our next class, we are going to be doing a pregnancy, I think, and pregnancy and I think birth control or something like that. So pregnancy is more HSB, but nothing is wrong if the bio students know it, because boys are going to become pregnant, girls are going to become pregnant. Yeah, boys become pregnant when their fiancé become pregnant. That's what I mean. All right, so I have a little trivia to throw your way as we go through this show. There is a genetics question I have you guys to I want you guys to answer. I'm going to be throwing something hard your way. You'll have to use some what you call it again? These stuff that they do forensic. You'd have to use some forensic science to solve it. So I'm going to be throwing that your way as we move into the show. So let's get going. We are looking at reproduction in animal. And just a reminder, reproduction is, of course, the production of offspring, right? You want to ensure that there's continuity of the species, so we tend to reproduce. So reproduction is important for continuity. Now, there are two real types of reproduction. Good evening. And the two types of reproduction, they are sexual and asexual. Sexual and asexual. Now, I don't want us to confuse, follow me here, I don't want us to confuse the whole concept of sexual, meaning that you have to have sex. Don't confuse it like that. Because getting pregnant doesn't require anybody to have any sex, right? So we want to make sure that we have that all clear, that of course, sexual reproduction has nothing to do with sex. It has to do with reproduction that entails two parents and the fusion of the male and female gametes. So never ever go anywhere and tell anybody, oh, in one type of the reproduction you have to have sex, and in the other type you don't have to have sex. That's not what it is about. All right. So I hope we have that all nice. Now the other is asexual, and it of course involves only one parent, as Powell would have said there. Now we're going to be looking at sexual reproduction in a little more detail than we did last week. And we're going to do the same for asexual reproduction. So the first thing we need to recall about sexual reproduction is that sexual reproduction requires two parents. First thing we need to have. Then the second thing is that it involves, why come the outside? It requires gamete from both parents. When we talk about gametes, we're talking about sex cell. We're just using these little words until we get into the real thing. We're talking about sperms and egg, but as we go further, we can change these terms. All right. So it requires gamete from both parents, male, female, egg, sperm, that type of thing. Sexual reproduction involves a male and a female pair, which produce different types of sex cell. And the sex cell there, we start by calling them sperms and egg. Now, the possibility of having a egg and a sperm coming together to make an offspring that looks somewhat like the parent is possible because of meiosis. I wanted to introduce it here because of meiosis. And one might ask, what does cell division has to do with this? Now, cell division is important, this type of cell division, in ensuring that we have the haploid number of chromosomes. Now, what haploid mean? Ain't no big word. It means half the number of chromosomes. So by now you understand that we all have 46 chromosomes. Yeah, we do. However, if you have 47, it means that you are suffering from Down syndrome. And we're going to look at that again as we get on over into heredity. All right. So we all, once you're all fine, we all have 46 chromosomes. But for my little son here, and I would have given him 23. And his mom gave him 23 as well. And that was possible because of meiosis. We're going to be talking more about meiosis, so don't become flustered about meiosis and too excited. Just remember that meiosis is pretty much responsible for the haploid number of chromosomes being passed on. So somebody's asking, what is, if it's not half, then what it is? If it is not half, then it is whole. It is full, all right? And if it is the full number of chromosomes, then we would say that it is diploid. And we're going to come to that in the lesson as we move along. Now, another thing that we need to look at is that with sexual reproduction, it involves the fusion of the male and female gamete. Now, I want to stop here, and I want you to just type the word fusion in the chat for me. Type the word fusion in the chat for me. And trust me, I am asking you to type the word fusion because I want to bring home a point, and I don't want you to mix it or become confused about it. The other term I'm going to give you later, but I'm not going to give you both now. So I just want you to type fusion in the chat. Very good. Fusion. So we talk about fusion, we're talking about something being fused. All right. Remember, we spoke about the bones, the suture in the skull. We talk about them being fused and become immovable joints, or joints that really don't move. So when we talk about fusion, we're saying that something would have joined. Very good. I like this class. These students are responsive. So very well, when we talk about fusion, something is joining. Remember, the first word you typed was fusion. Is you using M16 gravity? All right, so fusion, we would have joined something. And in this case, it is a fusion of the male and female gamete, the joining of the sperms and the egg. We're going to be looking more at this as we go through the lesson. Now, another thing that we want to look at is that the practice of sexual reproduction. You know, before I get to that, I was going to say the practice of sexual reproduction brings about variation. Yeah, that is true. But I personally think that variation starts before sexual reproduction. Because here it is. Look at Mr. Wilson now. Mr. Nice, handsome, sweet, butternut Wilson. That same Wilson, the one you're looking at on the screen. Now, say for example, a woman wants to have a nice child that is as sweet as Mr. Wilson. And you know that she not so sweet like Mr. Wilson. She probably sour like lime or bitter like Simple Bible. But she wants somebody that is as sweet as I am. So she might just step out of her line of being sour like lime or bitter like Simple Bible and come over the sugar lane. And then you find that she's going to have an offspring that is not sour like lime, not bitter like Simple Bible, but that offspring might just have a little bit as sour and a little bit as sweet. You know, she'd have a baby that is a lemonade. I tell you. So I personally think that variation starts before sexual reproduction by choosing the random selection of mate. Yes, the random selection of mate would, of course, cause some amount of variation. A woman could have 2 children, and guess what happened? There are probably 2 different fathers, and one might be Indian and one might be Chinese, or one might be black like me or Negro like me, and the other be of some other race or have the characteristic of some other race. So for that, I personally think that variation began before actually intercourse. It began where we had this choice, where we just chose whomever. In some cases, we decide who we want to choose. Yeah, in some cases, we decide. All right. So, but the big takeaway here the last point down here is that sexual reproduction contributes a whole lot to variation. Can you imagine? Look at this now. Let me see my adult learners. Just put up your hand for me. I want to ensure that I'm calling the adult learners. We're talking about reproduction, and it's sometimes big people stuff, and this is biology class, and I'm going to be saying everything. So if you're a minor and you're not, this might not be the session for you. If you're not a biology student and you're like a minor grade 7, this might be a little over your head. So if you're going to be watching the show, make sure that you watch it with your parents. We're going to be talking some big people things in the big people lane. All right, good. Our biology lane. Once you're doing biology, it's fine, because what I'm going to be saying. All right, so take for example Jawawan. All right, so Jawawan and Otisha, those adult learner, they want to ensure that there is variation, right? They want to ensure that their offspring, they have some desirable characteristic that society considered to be desirable. Because remember that society dictates how we live our lives. So society is saying that if you're black, you must stay around the back. So like me, you that the weed on the back of the line. And if you're brown, then you stick around. So what you get to find out that the brown guys will always get the girls, because the girl want a desirable trait, a variation, an offspring that will, of course, be favored in the modern work world. So she's going to want a blue-eyed baby, or a gray-eyed baby, or a brown-eyed baby, and a brown baby, and a long-haired baby, and a pretty baby. It is just the truth, I'm telling you. I'm cutting it down the edge. That's variation. And she would have decided from day one. Hey, I think there's a poem or a story where it says, I tell you that you must not talk to no dry-head girl. I really don't remember who's the author of that poem, but I know that there's some poem out there like that. Probably you could tell me the author and other persons could listen to where our culture has brought us. Slavery might be a part of it, but of course we have to be fighting. We have to be doing skin bleaching, which we should not do because we are damaging the skin, just that we can be brown to stick around. I really don't know if it works, but we're seeing that. All right, so that's a lot there on sexual reproduction. We spoke there about a whole lot of stuff, advantages of sexual reproduction. We're going to be looking at that. Now, but if the black man have money, him can cut the line. Guys, what you think about that? Zedbeck is saying that. Listen to me. Whether you're black or you're brown, you know, if you have money, you can come up at the front of the line. What you think, guys? Guys, if you really don't understand the pattern that are the Creole I'm speaking, just let me know and I will just tell you. What you think, guys? Zedbeck is saying here, listen to me. If you have money, you know, forget about this black and stay around the back, or brown and stick around. Just use the money and cut the line. All right, Barnett is agreeing with that. I think I like that. That's a real funny thing there. All right, so if you have money, one of my viewers is saying is that you can cut the line, come up front. So it means that I need to have some money that I can cut the line. Because trust me, you know, sometimes I feel like I am around the back of the back of the back. We run way down the back that I will never ever reach. Sometimes I feel that way. So I have to do something to get some money. Guys, it's a part of the class. We're going to have some humor. We have to laugh and learn. All right. So we're looking at the advantages of sexual reproduction. And the first thing we said that it creates a variation. And the variation, sometimes they are desirable variation, but it is also true that we might have undesirable variation. Because the truth is, while when selecting a partner, we're supposed to be getting some genetic counseling and all of them stuff. Most times we don't. We just look on a boy and hey, that you that look nice, man. Look at him chest broad and him full of muscle and something. Look on a girl, her hip wide and something, man. And her teeth white and something and something. You know, and that. And then the next thing you know, you have a child with undesirable characteristics. There are many. I'm not going to touch it. I won't be touching them now. We could talk about cystic fibrosis. We could go along with a whole lot of other stuff. And I'm not discriminating here. I am just teaching biology. All right. So another thing that we could look at is that species become more adaptable to change in the environment. So when we have variation, species become more adaptable to changes in the environment. So here it is, my dad, he has a whole lot of us, probably about 7 or a whole lot of us. And I live in one parish. I have another brother that lives in another parish, and I have another brother that lives in another parish. And then you will understand, if you were supposed to see us all, we probably talk a little different. Our value system might be a little different. We might be able to withstand things a little differently. I am in Kingston, so I am all for the heat, and they are living more in rural Jamaica, so they might be able to withstand a little more a lower temperature. So even that, we are able to withstand. We are able to, of course, become adaptable because we are different. All right. My son born almost white, and his father is dark in complexion, and I am light skinned. All right, careful, no, Jawawan, careful, because we have a genetic case to try here, you know, and we might put you on the block, you know. We have a lawyer in the room right now, you know. We have a lawyer in the room, so we might have to put you on the block with that light skin thing, you know. So hold on, Jawawan, hold it there, because we have a case to try. Remember, we have a case to try. I'm going to give you the case as we go along and cover that part of the syllabus. You have a case to solve here. All right. So 1 minute he's dark, next minute he's light skinned. All right, never mind. We're going to be talking about that. And that's, of course, a variation. Just a little humor there, a variation. That can happen. We have seen parents who have twins, and one is black and one is white, and they are twins. All right. So another thing that we could look at as advantage of sexual reproduction is that species are more able to form, it's more likely that they will form metapopulation. Now, when I talk about metapopulation, this might not be in your textbook. What I'm talking about here is that they are able to form small pockets of population in different places. So, for example, my father is from rural Jamaica, and he has children, and one of his child could, of course, go to another parish to live. That's a metapopulation. He's going to create his own family. And I am in Kingston, I'm creating my own family, and I have another brother somewhere else creating family, and my other brothers, and so on. So we are all over the place, and that is because of course, the sexual variation. We are able to form metapopulation. We really don't think alike. We don't have to be in the same domain, right? We pretty much move, and then we get all caught into what you're going to be learning about later, about the nature-nurture controversy. Just had a similar class with my student. All right, beautiful, beautiful. I wish they can join us, and of course you can join. And remember my email address. You can, of course, send me the things you want to share, or you want us to, of course, share. All right, so here we go again. Another thing about another advantage of sexual reproduction, and I will have to go through them again because I hope you're not missing anything. If the parent is of desirable trait, the offspring may possess the desirable trait. So take, for example, you remember that Mr. Wilson is in the sugar lane, so Mr. Wilson is of desirable trait. So of course, his offspring will have desirable trait. So that is why some persons tend to go out and they start to practice this type of modification, this type of variation skill and all of that in order to ensure that a desirable trait now comes to their gene pool. The fifth thing we want to talk about is that this could be used to introduce, like I just said, desirable trait to a stock or family. I like to talk about stock because I do agriculture. So let's go through them again. One advantage of sexual reproduction is that you have genetic variation. All right. The other thing is that species become more adaptable. The third thing is that species are able to form metapopulation or smaller population. Now, if the parent is of desirable trait, then the desirable trait will or might be passed on to the offspring. And then the last thing is that you are able to welcome to your gene pool a trait that you want as a result of sexual reproduction. You get that opportunity to make the decision who is going to be parent of, or the other parent of your offspring. Now, a disadvantage of sexual reproduction, we're going to be looking at some disadvantages of sexual reproduction. Just let me clear this here so we can see what's happening here. All right, beautiful. A disadvantage of sexual reproduction is that a lot of energy and time is spent to identify or to find mate. Take for example, my fiance probably was looking for me long time ago. You know, she was looking for the guy in the sugar lane, and then she had to probably, oh no, not you, not you, no, not you, oh no, not you, no, oh yeah, that's the guy. So you have to spend a whole lot of time and energy. And it's not only with human alone. If you think about, if you have ever seen dogs and they are trying to mate, and you see the number of dogs that are out there trying to get themselves being a part of the action, you'll realize the amount of energy that is spent. Sometimes they are beaten and all of that, and there's a big dog fight and all of that. And you'll see other animals, they are competing for mate, and they are like hitting the head together, they are fighting, all of that, just to find a mate. You'll see the peacock and he'll open his tail, and you'll see some bird doing some dance, and you'll see the crocodile in the water blowing water bubbles and in the water, that type of thing. But all of these just to find mate. That is like waste of time to an asexually propagated organism. You're doing all these fancy dancy stuff and you might never ever get a mate. You know how many guys are trying for so long and yet still they can't say, oh, that's the one. They just never get it right. So organisms have to go out in search of mate, and they have to do all sorts of stuff. So you think I'm just going to talk about crocodiles and bird alone? Take, for example, when the women are trying to find mate. Sure. Take, for example, when the women, they are trying to find mate. And I'm hitting at you, you can hit back at me. And they're going to put you, remember in the last class we spoke about adornment? You're going to put on all your makeup and all your earring and your nice fitted clothes. I don't know why they made jeans like that, but I think that person who made jeans, that person is a culprit. And you're going to put in all of these fancy dancy stuff. And you're going to put on your nails and all of those stuff, and your eyebrow. You're going to take off this one and you're going to make one with line up and all of that. And you're going to go out on the road and you're going to come out real good, as we would say in Jamaica, right? And all that money you would have spent at hairdresser, nail technician, the cologne, the clothes, and all of that, just in order to attract the ideal person. And then the guy is going to go to the gym and he's lifting, just for this area to look, that a woman can say, All that time is waste. So a disadvantage of asexual reproduction is that we're spending a whole lot of time and energy in finding a mate. And many of you going like you're not wearing those cologne and those makeup and something to find mate. But you can't trick Mr. Wilson. You can't trick Mr. Wilson. Now the guys like me, we are going to buy some like real expensive cologne, right? And we go to some expensive I will look for some of those that have pheromone. Pheromone, chemical that will attract women, and you put on the pheromone on your neck right here, so and you put on some on your back right here, so if you're traveling in the bus and somebody going to stand up beside you and so on, and you go in the bus and you're like, oh Lord, the fella smell nice. Him spend half my salary to buy that cologne just in order to attract the opposite sex. How you mean? How you mean that? Oh, it had a be going looking fresh. Do your thing, do your thing, do your thing. All right, so that's just one point we've just exhausted. We have looked at the time that is spent to find mate, the time and energy. Another thing that we could look at as a disadvantage is that the mode of reproduction is slow. And I heard somebody saying, probably Joanne is saying, you talk about mode of reproduction so slow, and then she might probably go into R species and K species. Guys, you can look at that. That is environmental science. And you're going to tell me, you ever see teenager multiply? Are you ever see bacteria multiply? Yeah, but I've also seen the elephant, and the elephant really take about 18 months to give birth, and really doesn't have one every year and that type of thing. So you understand that the sexual thing can be really, really, really slow. Yeah, right? So let me see what's happening here. I know what I need to do. I tell you. All right, so we get back to this. The mode sexual reproduction, the offsprings, they are not produced very quickly. A human is going to take 10 months. The elephant about 18 months, 2 years. And we could go on and on. As the organism become bigger, it takes more time to give birth, and it will, of course, have less offspring. All right. Another thing that we could look at is that, sorry, just a continued point to that, is that because of the mode of fertilization, only a few offspring is produced. I think I did say that. Only a few offspring is produced to some species, not everyone. And that is why I made mention of the teenager, bacteria versus an elephant and human. But in most cases, it's not going to be it's not going to be a lot of offspring if it is sexual reproduction. Another thing about sexual reproduction is that if you have poor quality offspring may, of course, be produced if, of course, the stock was poor. So if the poor parents had undesirable trait, now this could be passed down as sexual reproduction. So that is also an undesirable trait. And we have looked at that when we look at sex-linked inheritance and all that, and we're going to be looking at it again. Oh, that is going to be something. That is something sort of different. Being a human giving birth after 10 months doesn't mean that the baby cannot be born before. Now, with technology, we can have babies really, really earlier. And the truth is, if you observe what the doctor does is to give you an idea as to about when the child will be born, and they are going to monitor this, and the child might come before, the child might come on the day, or the child might come after. So even though we say 10 months naturally thereabout, of course the child could come before. I want to know the same. All right, yeah, so pretty much that's it. That's it. It's because of advance in technology, because we really don't have any control over that. But usually, if we have a good framework, as it's going to be about 7 months to 10 months thereabout, and it could be preemie. And if you are having baby before 9 months, it's considered, I think, a premature baby or a prema, even if it is like a day before nine months. Where is Amoy? She's the medical person here. Jawan, my son was born early and he was perfectly healthy. A child being born early does not mean that the child will not be healthy. All right? Depending on how early the child might need some help, but it doesn't mean that the child is not going to be healthy. All right. So there we have looked at, of course, some disadvantages of sexual reproduction. The big one is that a whole lot of time and energy has to be spent in finding mate. The mode of fertilization pretty much cause reproduction to be very slow. And of course, only few offspring can be produced as a result of this mode of fertilization. Another thing about it is that if the parent was of an undesirable trait, then this undesirable trait might be passed on. All right. So there's a lot of things for us to talk about. As reproduction, and that is why I did not jump reproduction to cover it in one class, because there's a lot of things I want you to know that are not on the syllabus. But if you are doing science and you're alive, then you need to know a little bit about yourself, possibilities and impossibilities. All right, so we're going to be looking now at asexual. There's something in my eye. I don't know what's happening. I keep rubbing my eye because there's something in it. I'm very sorry, but it's like really annoying. Yeah, it's really, really bad. All right. Asexual reproduction. We started out, I think Powell said, it is a type of reproduction in which only one parent is required. Now, the most important thing to me is something that falls in the null curriculum. So I am going to be asking the class now. In asexual reproduction, is there any fertilization? Any fertilization taking place? Yes, no. Well, we have asexual reproduction. Fertilization takes place. Type it in the chat there for me. It's a question for you. All right. Shamario is saying yes. Anybody else? Just give it your best shot. That is all that is important here. And nobody else? You're afraid? In asexual reproduction, is fertilization taking place? In asexual reproduction, no manipulation of the cells. Some persons are saying yes. Continue, some persons are saying no, or a person is saying no. Yes, yes, yes. So these persons are saying that fertilization is taking place. Continue answering, continue answering. Remember, in this class, there's no real wrong and right. It's like acceptable versus learning moment. All right? Because if you get it wrong, trust me, you're going to learn. All right. No, manipulation of cells. I'm not too sure if this is everyone, but I'm going to be giving you the answer. When there is asexual reproduction, no fertilization is taking place. No fertilization is taking place. A nice way to put it is that there's manipulation of cells. All right, and we're going to be talking about that. So that's another takeaway. Guys, forgive me. There's something in my eye. I don't know what is happening. I don't even know how something would have gotten in my eyes. All right, I've gotten in my eye. All right, oh boy, it's not helping. All right, so two things we looked at. We said one, only one parent is required. Two, no fertilization is taking place. Three, the process is, of course, due to mitosis. So remember we said that with sexual reproduction, it was enhanced by meiosis. With asexual reproduction, it is mitosis. Remember that. I'm going to come back to something else. You need to follow me. I'm going to come back to something else. When I come back there, I'm going to tell you. Now, a beautiful thing about asexual reproduction is that the offspring is identical to the parent. I know that there are some men having heard that. They would say, I prefer to have my kids asexually because I'd be sure I would not be victim to paternity fraud. But of course, we don't reproduce like that unless we are going to be doing cloning, which is unethical. All right, it's not one of those things we are allowed to practice. So, identical offspring is of course produced, and it is seen when we clone organism. Now, this type of reproduction is considered to be a conservative method. You get an exact copy of a hybrid producer. Hybrid is a big word. Hybrid is a big word. Big word. All right. So this type, if you've ever seen asexual reproduction anywhere being referred to as a conservative method, please be reminded where it is from. It means the same thing as asexual reproduction. It's a conservative method of reproduction. Refers to the asexual method of reproduction. Please be reminded to like, share, and subscribe. I remember we'd love to have 60 persons online now. We are having 24 persons. Please get that number up to 30, and then we're going to get it up to another 30. So send some message to some person and tell them to join. All right, asexual reproduction. And we're now looking at the advantages of asexual reproduction. The good thing about asexual reproduction. One, no time nor energy is wasted finding a mate. You know what? I want another son. I just break off this hand and make another son. I don't need to worry about cologne and barber and cologne and all of those stuff. All right? So no time is spent wasted walking up and down and fighting to find a mate in order to have an offspring. No, that is created by just you, one parent. Right? Now, another important thing, another important advantage of asexual reproduction is that a large number of offspring can be produced in a short time. Now, if you're an agriculture student and you're doing plant propagation, you can relate to this. You can just cut one stem and cut it up several times, stick it in some soil, and then there you go, you have several new plants. You can't just get a pig and do that. It doesn't happen like that. It takes some amount of time in order to produce the offspring. Now, no limit is there to the number of offspring that can be produced. They continue to produce offspring, continue to produce offspring, continue to produce offspring. There's no limit when it comes to asexual reproduction. Yes, it can take place in the lab. Remember we spoke about cloning. Yes, asexual reproduction can take place in the lab. In most cases, it takes place in the lab. All right, and you could do it outside. If you break a piece of plant that is, of course, propagated by stem, you could just plant it outside. That's a method of asexual reproduction. Or if you have a leaf of life and you can cut off a piece of the leaf, or the tiger lily or the breadfruit plant, you cut a part of the root. That is asexual reproduction. All right, so here we go again. Another thing we need to look at is that the offspring will always flourish in favorable condition. In favorable condition. Now, good quality parent, another thing, will make good quality offspring. So if I had a croton plant or a plant that is a good plant and I was able to break off a part of that plant and plant it, and it's a high yielding plant, a plant that is producing a lot, that plant will also, the offspring will continue to produce a lot, right? Because it's of good quality. I suppose I'm doing this because of a color. The plants are real sweet. I mean, all of you ladies do it. You go down the road and you see a flower that you like. Oh, I want a piece of this flower. And you cut off the flower and plant it. Asexual reproduction. Because you want a flower at your house that looks pretty much like the one you saw at the hotel. Yeah, you do it. You're guilty. And then the other thing that we have is that the outcome of offspring can be determined even before reproducing. So suppose I want to have a plant that just grow this. I could just decide that I'm going to get a plant to reproduce that, grow that, like that. And it is going to look like that because I am sure that the offspring is, of course, identical to the parent. So that's pretty much, in a nutshell, the advantages of asexual reproduction. The other thing that we need to look at now is, of course, the disadvantages of asexual reproduction. And one of the first things we want to talk about with asexual reproduction is that the offsprings do not cope well with changes in the environment. In sexual reproduction, they'll do well. In asexual reproduction, they really don't cope well because where you find them, that is where they are doing well. And if you move them out of that region, in most cases, they are not going to be doing well. Another thing is that poor quality trait can be passed on easily to the offspring because we have this plant that is, or this organism that is not doing good, and then you reproduce that organism, and then the next thing you know, it's not the best thing. And that is why somebody spoke about hybrid. With a desired characteristic, of course, you'll be getting a desired offspring. All right, good evening and welcome to the show. All right, another thing we want to look at is that if you were supposed to look, I spoke about this in the last class, apple tree or apple tree, or to eat the apple, what you'll realize is that the seeds that fall right, sorry, not the seed. What you'll find is that where you have asexual reproduction taking place, in most cases, that is not applicable. What I said before is not applicable. Where you find asexual reproduction taking place, in most cases, you are going to have overcrowding. Because take, for example, the plant that we call tiger lily. You could find it on the net. Wherever it is growing, it is coming up from the root. You're going to have a whole lot colonizing the area until it becomes a weed, a plant that you really don't want where you planted it. Because it starts out and then it starts to spread the root and then it keep growing new plant, keep growing new plant, keep growing new plant. And if you cut off a piece of that plant and it fell on the ground there, or a piece was broken off and it fell on the ground, it's going to continue growing. So usually with asexual reproduction, a drawback or a disadvantage is that you are faced with overcrowding, or you might be faced with overcrowding. Now, another thing, if a colony is affected by a disease, the entire population might be wiped out because there's no variation. There's no variation. Now, with sexual reproduction, there's variation, and you'll hear that some person say, oh, I've had COVID, and they say that you're going to feel this and feel that. I didn't feel anything. I didn't even know that I have COVID. And that is as a result of variation. Some persons will suffer more than some. And this is as a result of the sexual reproduction, which of course creates variation. And there are some other things that contribute to variation. But this is a good case, as it were, for COVID. I'm sure everybody would know somebody, and you would have heard it on the news, that persons are asymptomatic and all of that. They really don't show any sign of symptom or anything. They have the disease, but they are not affected by it. And believe it or not, there are some persons with AIDS that behave the same way. They really don't show any sign, symptom, or anything. You think they are fine, but they pretty much have the disease there, right? So variation is very, very important for the survival of a species. All right. So there we have it. We have looked at sexual, asexual, advantages, disadvantages. This might just be the time for you to join the show. Welcome to the show if you are just joining. If you are not locked and loaded to the live show and you are just watching on the internet, we want to welcome you to the show as well. We do hope that one day you will become a family member and you will join us in the live chat so that, of course, we can be better at what we do. So what's today's lesson, sir? Oh, today's lesson, we're looking at reproduction. You would have seen it on the thumbnail. I think it's on the thumbnail, reproduction. Usually we send it out on the thumbnail. So we're looking at reproduction and we are doing well so far. So will you say variation determines how often you may get sick? Variation could determine how often you get sick. But one of the things that is very tricky about that, you'll have to think about other factors that could inhibit that. All right, we could think about the lymph, we could think about the white blood cells and all of that. So variation, of course, could determine to an extent, but it's not the only thing that will determine how often you get sick, because you can develop some amount of resistance. All right, but of course, variation could determine who gets sick and where you get sick and when you get sick. It could. All right, but it's not the only thing. Now, somebody had asked earlier in the class, and I tend to remember these things because that is what the class is about, if asexual reproduction can take place in the lab. And I answered by saying, yes, it does. So we're going to be looking now. You probably want to jot this down. I want you to tell me in the chat. This, I think it's one of your activity. I think I have it listed as your activity. I want you to tell me 3 types of asexual reproduction. 3 types of asexual reproduction. Type it in the chat there for me. Remember, it doesn't matter if you are wrong or right. What matters is that you actually put some fuel to the fire by responding. All right, so I want you to tell me 3 types of asexual reproduction. Amoy, where are you? I haven't seen you. What's that mean? Who else I haven't seen? Macmillan, are you here? Oh, you are right in front of me. You asked a question just now. Where's Dee Dee? I haven't seen Dee Dee. Is she here? Oh, Amoy is gravity this evening. Otisha is here. Otisha is saying plants. I'll get to that. Fragmentation. Guys, I think you are looking at, I asked for types and fragmentation. Those fragmentation, plant fragmentation, and you have separation and all of that. Interesting. You like pulling me back to some agri, and I'm trying to figure out how better this could be said. Amoy is not gravity. Is what? Amoy is not gravity. So who is Amoy? Who's gravity? Because I'm seeing gravity and Amoy together. All right. Oh, Amoy Lawrence. Sir, gravity is my brother. Okay, big up yourself. Big up yourself. No, I understand. Okay, clear. Good. Good, I understand clearly. All right, beautiful. All right, this is where I was going with this. I don't want to throw you off on a tangent, but I want the bio students to have this all concretized, and I'm going to be explaining. So somebody said plant, somebody said fragmentation. Now, what I was looking for where those would fall as type of asexual reproduction, they would have been vegetative. Vegetative, and what vegetative mean is that you are using a part of the plant. All right? Guys, just hold it. You're giving me some examples of the types. I'm getting some examples of the type. Fission is good, but budding and grafting is, of course, example of vegetative reproduction. All right. So budding and grafting example. I'm not too sure about plant, animal, and fungus. I'm not too sure where that is going, but we'll we'll try and figure it out. So grafting, those are examples. Grafting is going to be an example of vegetative reproduction. So we are talking about types of asexual reproduction, which would include, let me give you them. Vegetative, that is one. Type it in the chat for me. The second, when I say type, everybody typing, I don't mean one person. So vegetative is going to be one, where we are using a part of the plant. Then we have cloning, where we are using genetic material. Then we have binary fission. Fission, very good. I want to pause at fission. Remember I said vegetative, cloning, and fission. Now, fission is pretty much something that you would see in unicellular organism. All right? And you'd, of course, pick up these in your bacteria and like your protozoa, you'd see that coming out there. Now, in fission, what really happens is that the organism pretty much divides itself. All right? So I'll tell you what, I want a nod of Mr. Sugar. The guy in the sugar lane, I'm going to make a nod of him. So I'm going to go through binary fission. I'm just going to make a nod of myself. Right? So that is pretty much something that you're seeing in microbes. Pretty much a real reason for them multiplying so quickly. All right? Or reproducing so quickly. But in the earlier part of the show, I'd asked you to type in the chat fusion, where we said that something is joining. Fusion. Now, fusion is to sexual reproduction as fission. Fission, I want you to type fission now. As fission is to asexual reproduction. So the first one coming, type them for me. So we have fusion and we have fission. Fusion, things are joining, as it were, in sexual reproduction. Fission, things are separating. So the Fission, things are separating. Nuclear fission. Boosh. So in fission, things are separating. In fusion, things are joining. All right? So I want you to look at those two words good. Fusion, things are fusing together, joining. Fission, things are separating. Fission, things are separating. Very good. So of course, as Peart would have typed it here, the three types of vegetative reproduction, the three types of asexual reproduction are going to be vegetative, cloning, and fission. All right? So we call it binary fission. Binary fission is going to be. Thank you very much. That was very good just now. We are going to be continuing the show, going now deeper into reproduction of human, as it were. Now, what we're going to be talking about, if you're a kid in the room, you probably want to have your parents close to you, because we are going to be talking about sex, we are going to be talking about penis, we are going to be talking about vagina, we are going to talk about ejaculation, we're going to talk about penis becoming, and you know. All right, so it is a big thing that we're going to be doing now. So I would have put out the disclaimer. If you're a kid and you're not supposed to be here, or you can't manage this type of content, it might be a little time you want to step away, or if your parents will allow you. Some music passing by. That's a car, you know. We're really festive in Jamaica, you know. Really, really, really festive. Some car passing with that loud noise. All right, so somebody have online classes 8, so I'll have to go. I'll be going before 8. Usually I do. All right, so let us continue now that we put the disclaimer out there, and those persons who need supervision, they clearly understand. Now, reproduction in human, like we started out, requires 2 persons. Are we talking about the natural thing before we talk about all the other stuff? It requires two persons, and I'm going to take you through a walk through what happens. So first, we have to brave the reality to find a mate. Psst. Hi, how you doing? How we are talk to? You at gas station? You lose here or something? But look on him too. You want beard. We have to go through all of that in order to find a mate. All right? Now, having found a mate, and a number of things are agreed on, the next thing that should come in play or might come in play, and we're talking about a relationship for a reproduction for meaning. So the other thing that will come in play is that we might now experience copulation. And everybody would understand copulation. In your world or in the regular world, they would say sex. Well, you're going to experience copulation. Now, copulation to many persons might be something easy. And I'm going layman now, and then I'm going to get to the scientific thing. So copulation will see the penis becoming erect. Now, the penis does not have any bones. Fortunately or unfortunately not. The penis doesn't have any bone. The penis becomes erect because there is more blood flowing into some sinus, or call some little cavity, or we could call it the tissue. There is more blood flowing in the arteries there in the penis. Now, the penis, as it were, the arteries going into the penis, they will dilate. So if they dilate, like we spoke about dilation, we spoke about the skin and the eye, they will become bigger. Now, while the blood vessels going into the arteries are going to become bigger, the veins are going to constrict. So they are going to become smaller. You know, that reminds me of something like the afferent and the efferent arteriole, where one is bigger, one is smaller, so it creates a pressure inside the glomerulus. But it is somewhat similar, but not the same. So with the penis, the arteries going in, they are going to dilate once a person becomes excited and the penis becomes erect, and more blood is going to flow in. Now, the veins are going to constrict, become smaller. So what you're going to find happening is that less blood is going to come out. So as less blood is coming out and more blood is going in, then it means that the penis will, can I use the word turgid as we were doing osmosis? It will remain stiff and tough, or whatever name you call it. The book says stiff. The literature says stiff. So it will remain in that position until some conditions are changed. Now, the penis is pretty much a shaft. A shaft, and one of its function, as it were, for reproduction is pretty much to be inserted into a passageway, a canal that is called the vagina. Now, having been inserted in the vagina, what is going to happen? It has some muscle that is around the urethra. And as the action continues, or start, or whatever, I really don't want to say everything, those muscles will start contracting. They are going to start contracting, and like the muscle is contracting, so too the woman's reproductive organ, if stimulated at the right time, will be contracting. Now, this contraction of the male, or this contraction of the male and the female, and the action that is taking place is going to cause ejaculation. Now, the sperms will travel. This is a dry walk through what we're going to do now. The sperms will travel through that passage here of the vagina, past the cervix, go on through the uterus, and it will head on up into the oviduct, or what we call fallopian tube. And if an egg has been released, and that egg is there in the fallopian tube, what is going to happen is that the sperms is going to penetrate this egg and it is going to go head on in. It's going to dive in. The head is going to go in first. And it's going to lose that tail. And once it gets inside, the acrosome of a sperm will change the membrane of the egg so that no other sperms can enter. And once this would have happened, then there is fusion of the male and female gamete, and this is taking place in the oviduct, and there we have fertilization taking place. Now, once this would have happened, then it starts to know, oh my works. Can I tell you this? Understand this, this is going to be a little contrary. So right there in that egg, where the sperms entered, mitosis is now going to take place. And it's going to be splitting up and splitting up and splitting up and splitting up and splitting up. Oh, come on. We just started from the egg and sperm cell. And look at we now. Look at us. We have all sorts of different cells. You think it just came about by miracle? Oh, no. Mitosis was involved. And mitosis was very, very important because at that time, we needed to maintain the diploid number of chromosome, and that is the 46. We couldn't have any more meiosis taking place at that time, or else it would have been something different. Probably would have been a nyaman, not a man. Something else. It wouldn't be the same thing. So that's a dry walk through what we're going to be doing. So, having messed up your brain just now, and I'm going to go through it again in details, more details, I want all my first science students, my forensic science students, to solve this case. First science students, are you ready? Let me hear yes. I'm giving you a big case to solve now. We are ready. We are ready. And you have to be, you'll have to put on that thinking cap, you know, because this is going to be a real tricky one for some persons. So you didn't say yes, but I'm going to go because I know that you're ready. A woman, for some unknown reason, and this is a hypothetical situation, it's not a real situation. She had sex with a man whose sperm duct was severed. We soon get to birth control. She had sex with this man, his sperm duct was severed. And for some reason, she met up with her old fiance. And they were playing around with the genitals. They are playing around with the genitals. And somehow sperms got on the hand, and I don't know, but they were playing around. They were playing around with the genitals. So all things are possible. Playing around with both genitals. All things are possible. So scenario one, she had sex with the man and his sperm duct was cut. She was playing around with this fellow, her past mate, and they were fingering the genital area, right? And then she went to this beach party that now is kept in a swimming pool. And when she went to that beach party, there was a young man who, having seen all these things, became excited and ejaculated in the pool. She missed her period for the first month. She missed her period for the second month. And the third month, she decided that she's going to do a pregnancy test. She only had sex with one of these individuals. Of the three, only one. You being a far-side student, who is the father of the child? Who could be the likely father of the child? As scientists, we can't say that this is what it's going to be. We have to use plausible things to say. Will the father of the child be the man she had sex with? Will the father of the child be the man she was fondling, or that was fondling her? Will the father of the child be the person in the swimming pool? Will the father of the child be either the man in the swimming pool or the man, or it could be any two? So will it be one person or two person or whatever? Tell me in the chat. Solve this for me. Who is responsible for the pregnancy? Sir, the swimming pool guy. Mackenzie said the swimming pool guy. Past mate. Walker is saying the past mate. Remember, it's only one person she had sex with. It's not the past mate that she had sex with. It's the present man that she has sex with. The past mate. Amoy is saying that the man that she had sex with and the past mate, most likely the past mate is the person that was fondling her. That is probably the person, or the person that they were in the fondling thing. And Walker is saying the man that was fondling her. It could be two person, It could be any of two person, or it could be you could just lick it on the head to say that. But remember, you have to provide substantial evidence. This is a court case. All right. So the other thing, the man that was fondling her, the second guy, the guy that was fondling her, the first guy, that is the guy that she had sex with, the pool guy, playing around guy, the guy that she was fondling, there is a possibility that the vasectomy was not done properly. But very slim chance. Oh my God, I see some scientists here. The guy that she had sex with, is that all the answers that we have? I sort of like where this is going. I am seeing the science coming out here. All right. So Amoy is saying that there is a reasonable possibility that it could be the guy that she had sex with. A Walker is saying, Amoy, that is true, It could have been a fella there too, All right. So for CXCC, they would ask you to suggest. You could not give an answer, you could only suggest. All right. So this is one good use of the word suggest. So now Amoy suggests that it's probably the fella that she had sex with, because probably there's a problem with the vasectomy. That is sort of made the thing more complicated now. Let me put on my glasses so I can see and see what Macmillan is saying. Oh my God, Amoy, you took my reasoning. I don't know why they hide this stuff. That's fine. Oh my God, took my reason from my answer. Lol. All right, so let me see here now. Powell, you said something. The man had sex with. Powell is saying that the man had sex. It's a bio class. YouTube flag it, but that's fine. All right. So let us see how we can deal with this now. Because this is a very serious case. Very, very serious case. This woman is a woman of high standard, like Amoy and like Jawawan and like Didi and like all the ladies of this room. So she really don't want to. She knew that the man had the vasectomy done. So she really feel a little way. She feel a little cute way, and she really don't want to. She really don't know what to do. And then we as scientists, we must advise her, Macmillan, it's not the pool guy, for sure. And I have reasons too for that. I want to hear the reasons, even if the show finished this evening, because I want to hear the reasons. Let me see now. Whoever sperms went in her body is the owner. Please don't do that type of answer. That type of answer is going to award you a 4 for CXC. All right. Let us try to reason it out and be plausible. All right. Don't say whomever. Yeah, it's going to be whomever sperm. That's a given. But if that was the case, we want to know who it is. We don't want. How are we going to know whose sperm went in her? We're going to do a DNA test on all of them. Yeah. But at start, where do we start? We don't have any DNA tests. And at the end of answering this, I'm going to tell you what the question is really asking. So we're ready to go now. Some years ago, go to Google if you wish. A young man went to a pool party and he ejaculated in the water. About 13 to 17 girls got pregnant. It's on Google. And they were not aware what caused it. Trace led back to the young man who confessed that it happened. That is not rape. It is an unusual case that this happens, and it has a medical name. It's a very unusual and rare case because under normal circumstance, that sperm should have died once it touched the water. Yeah, I'm very serious. I will find it if I have time at the end of the show, and I'll send you the article. It's something that we discussed in our science department. My supervisor actually came with that article first. Now, the other part, so we are now establishing that the guy in the pool could very well be the father. The guy in the pool could very well be the father. So that is well established, but it is an anomaly. It's only in rare cases, rare cases, this happens. Whoa, that could happen. All right, so we're going to look at that. I want you to go and look at it at the end of the show if you can. So we are putting in the possibility that the fellow in the pool could have been responsible for the pregnancy. Okay, cool. Now, another thing is that the fellow that was funneling her, or she was having this heavy petting session with, the sperm will survive, but for a short time under normal circumstance outside of the body. So if sperm is on whomever hand and it happens to reach the genital of the woman, it is also plausible that this could impregnate the lady. The other one, which I was not expecting that Amoy would have opened the case like that, I didn't see that coming. I had it that the man who had the surgery done, it was done properly. The surgery that the man did, it was done properly. Amoy, the surgery was done properly. So he had no sperms getting inside that woman. So before Amoy changed the story and made it a little more complex, the plausible fathers could have been the funneling guy and the guy in the pool. The real question behind this story is what actually gets the woman pregnant? Is it sperms or the penis? A lot of students, when you ask them about sex and pregnancy and all of that, pregnancy is tied to the penis, but the penis is not required for a woman to become pregnant. So there are girls that would have fell victim to COVID, and they probably said to themselves that there was no ejaculation, but I still got pregnant. Or remember, a whole lot of things could happen outside of that mass ejaculation that could cause you to become pregnant. All that was needed, as somebody said earlier, is that you needed to have sperms get into the egg, and then you would have become pregnant. Sir, is it possible you can get pregnant from a pre-cum? Yeah. But listen, the pre-cum, as you say there are different. When we do agriculture, we talk about different sperm phase, right? So that is probably what you call pre-cum might be the first sperm phase. Now, once there is sperms in it, you can get pregnant. Now, the thing about it, you can't use your eye to determine if sperms is in it, right? So it is always possible. It is always possible. All right, sir, I didn't know. Yeah, all those things are possible. So just to say to those students who are listening, I hope no student will fall prey to this type of thing. It is not the penis that gets you pregnant. It is, of course, the sperms. over and out with that, and I continue with my lesson. I do hope that we did learn a thing or two a while ago, and I wanted to go and look at the article that I made mention of now. All right, so to produce a child, it takes a male and a female. And without even going any further, more controversy, fathers must take care of their children. Must, they should, right? But it is also true that a woman should make sure that the man that she says is the father is the real father. Children, they have a right to know their real parent. Now, unless otherwise legally agreed, the child should know his or her biological parent or parents. All right. So fathers, take care of your pitney. Mothers, ensure that is the father is the father. I asked one of my students this. I gave some question and I asked, and the student responded by saying that the father is actually the right father. So make sure that it's the right father is the right father and not the wrong father, the father. All right. So that's where we're going with that. All right. So we move on now. Each parent will contribute the haploid number of chromosome to the offspring, and we spoke about that. That is as a result of meiosis taking place. Now, so the 46 or the 46 chromosome will be divided into two, and that is going to give us 23, which is of course the haploid number of chromosomes, and that of course is as a result of meiosis. Now, this information, the genetic information, we should know by now, is of course contained in the nucleus of the cell. What is supposed to happen? It is already there, hard-coded. So you have nothing to do with the 23 or the 46. The body is, of course, going to take care of that. Now, at the time of fertilization, there is, of course, a combination of a sex cell. And it is because of this combination why this 23 over here from the mother and this 23 from the father, when they combine, they give you the 46 to make an offspring that is somewhat like the parent. Now, I'm going to break again. I have another activity. That was a big activity a while ago. This one is probably too close, but I'm going to give you another activity. Now, the plural of the word we consider to be sperms is going to be spermatozoa. That's a plural, spermatozoa. Tell me in the chat what is singular for spermatozoa. All right, so the plural is spermatozoa. Tell me what's the singular. It being single, what is it called? Sir, question. Why do we female person having difficulties getting pregnant? That is a big lesson, and there is a whole lot of factors, and I will touch it probably at the end of the class. A whole lot of things could cause it. A whole heap of things. Whole heap something. All right. And in my years of practicing as a child growing up, even up into adulthood, I was always of the opinion, based on what I'm seeing around, that once you have sex and there is discharge, you're going to get pregnant. I grew up on that concept, and then I grew and then I understood from persons around me that being pregnant is not that easy for everyone. So we are looking now at the singular form of the sperm. We said that the plural is, of course, spermatozoa, and we want to look at the singular form of the ova. So the egg, ova, is plural. What's the singular form? I don't get that. Jawawan, I'm not too sure what you're saying there. All right, Macmillan is saying spermatozoon is the singular. Anybody else? Spermatozoon, remember that we take part in this lesson. All right, and Charles is saying ovum is singular. Anybody want to contradict those? I'm not too sure if they are right. You want to tell me whether they are wrong or right? We have to get that clear moving forward. Spermatozoon, spermatozoa, ovum. All right. So persons are coming in, and it seems based on what I'm seeing here that these persons are correct because the views are pretty much the same. Yes, guys, you are correct. Now, I'm going to be just going a little deeper into the ovaries. Now, eggs are made in the ovaries. We all know that. All right. And one is released in most women each month. I want to be politically correct. In most women, they're going to have one release most month. Now, when you are born, there were actually some eggs there already, but they develop as you grow. And yeah, I think you're going to have probably about 400 in your lifetime or something like that that will be released, something like that. All right, so one is released every month in most women. Now, this takes place, it release during a time we refer to as ovulation. That is when the egg will be released. Ovulation. For the male who are here, we are having a conversation. The women know everything about this. All right, so it's of course going to release during ovulation. Now, the life for the egg is pretty short. The lifespan for the egg is it's pretty short. It lasts for probably less than a week, right? And then it will disintegrate. Now, it is also able, the egg, we probably wonder this because we've always known about the sperm moving with the tail or the flagellum. And persons might wonder, how does the egg move? Now, the egg moves by what we call cilia, right? So with the fluid there, it is moving in this wave-like pattern, pretty much moving like that. And while it moves and flick like that, it is moving the egg through the fallopian tube and down into the ovaries. About 450 immature ova will mature in a woman's lifetime. About 400, 450 thereabout will mature during the woman's lifetime. So the egg is moving. The egg cannot move by itself. It doesn't have any mechanism to move. Unlike the sperm, which has a mechanism to move, the egg does not move. All right. So the ovum, as we will call it now, ovum does not move. But the spermatozoon, it will move, not they. If you're going to say they, you have to say spermatozoa. All right. Only 400 of these will develop. So depending on which author is writing, some might say 400, some might say 450. No big deal. All right. I have more things to tell you about reproduction and some wacky news. Even one that is coming from the Caribbean. I read it in some article. I'm not sure if anybody is from that Caribbean island that we're going to be talking about. Not on the syllabus, but of course I have to ensure that you know a lot of things before you leave here. All right. A whole lot of things we have to learn. When I teach reproduction, I teach a whole lot of stuff. Some is in the syllabus, some is just for you to understand what is happening in the real world. All right, so the spermatozoon or the spermatozoa, they are made in the testes. So I hope we are comfortable with the ovum. The spermatozoa, they are made in the testes. Now, the thing about it is that they continue, it's a continuous process. It's just making it. Continue to make it. Now, under special condition, the spermatozoon can live outside of the body. Now, under regular condition, they'll die after a short time outside of the body. But it is important to note that they can stay inside the woman, having been ejaculated or inserted inside of her. They can stay inside of her for about 3 to 5 days. About 3 to 5 days after ejaculation. So one might say that I am not ovulating, so we can do X or we can do Y. Please be reminded, rhythmic sex withdrawal is never ever a safe method of birth control. And we continue. Now, the sperm, they are able to move the tail-like structure, might call a flagellum. They are able to move by flexing it like that and get to the egg. They are very good at that. They can move. Now, somebody is asking this question in their mind. I said that the egg live for a very short time, probably about 3 days thereabout. I might be a medical person, you can tell me. The sperms or the spermatozoa or the spermatozoon, how long can they live for inside of the male? Inside of a man, how long the sperm live for? Is it there? Suppose you were never to have sex. The sperm that was there from day one, will it be there until day a million? Always use protection. Stay safe. All right. Always. That's good word from C6 Spy. Enough respect. I like that. All right. So we are talking now about the sperms. And this is not on the syllabus. This is just a trivia that we push into the lesson because these are questions that students want to ask and they want to have them answered. So the spermatozoa or the spermatozoon, they can live for about 74 days in a man. Now, very good. Since Jawawan coming with it, about 74 days in the male body. And if they are not expelled, then they are going to be disintegrated in the body sometime thereafter. So we like to say that it is about, at least, up to thereabout, around that region of time, about 74 days. All right? So I can't tell you whether you should use them or abuse them or leave them where they are. What I will say is like CXT Spy would have said, stay safe. Do not trouble what don't trouble you. Do not walk in the rain if you don't want to get wet. A word to the wise is sufficient. All right. So we exhaust all those activities. I think you need a little trivia. That was a trivia a while ago, but I'm going to give you another trivia before we get into 70. Well, it could be anywhere 74, 72. Remember when you do an experiment, different persons are going to find different things, and different authors are going to write different things. So that is pretty much in range. So don't be too hard on yourself. So now I have two other trivia before, and these are trivia I should give you for next week class. But you've been so nice, so I want to just give you some trivia, and we want to move along. I'm going to give you one of the trivia now and one next week. The trivia I want to give you now. I'm trying to remember which Caribbean island it happened in. I want you to tell me the youngest woman to have ever gotten pregnant. Clue, less than 9-year-old. Clue, less than 8-year-old. Clue, less than 7-year-old. Tell me in the chat the youngest woman to have ever gotten pregnant. Hell no. Did I say hell? Sorry. No, not 9. Youngest woman to have ever gotten pregnant. She gave birth to a son, not 3, older than 3. You're not going to guess it out here, Go and research it and come back and tell me. She died. The son is alive, I think. I think she died recently. Youngest woman to have ever gotten pregnant. So some persons are come up with some answer there. Jawawana Milana, when we couldn't go on some Martin, when we couldn't go on so Tomlin, when we couldn't go on so. All right, you see, since we not go on so, where she come from? Where is she from? Where is she from? Where is she from? You must have seen it in the article. Where is she from? A whole lot of trivia this evening. I don't know. Mr. Wilson must have been on his good side. Let me see how far we are complete. Some persons have to leave for class. All right, good. My thing is fine. We'll be out of here. No, you can check the article. Peru? You're sure it's Peru? I don't remember Peru. You sure? Check that article again. I really don't remember it being Peru. I won't say that it is not, but I really don't remember. This is one thing that I don't remember. I know it's 5-year-old, but as to where I really don't remember. I remember that she gave birth to a son. Everybody is saying Peru, so I need to go and check that article again. All right, very good. That's a trivia. So what's the merit behind asking these questions? You observe that my trivia are not way out and they are not for joke or fun. Your textbook will tell you that it will tell you about a woman becoming pregnant or able to become pregnant between age 14 and 45. I am saying a woman will become pregnant once there's a mature egg and an egg has been released. When this will happen, there's always anomaly. So for those persons who are going to say, those younger folks, forgive me guys, I have to talk the things in the meeting here. I'm not bashing anyone, I'm educating persons. For those persons who are going to say, you are too young to have that conversation around pregnancy. You are too young to get pregnant because you have not seen this or you have not seen that. You have not gone through the stoplight. Let us get that out of our heads and just go to the facts. The fact says a 5-year-old has gotten pregnant and has given birth to a son. It is out there. The data is real. I'm still here. All right, sir. It says it's a Peruvian. It might be. I really don't remember. The name is correct though. I know the name. I know the name. Yes. All right, sir. But the baby, little girl, didn't have a menstrual cycle. But that is what I'm trying to come across with. Now, that is what I meant when I said that the person did not go through the stoplight. There is nothing to say. All right, let us look at this. I'm being very plausible. When you have ovulation, if you become pregnant, you won't see any period. Is if you don't get pregnant, you're going to see the period. So to say that I have never seen my period, so I can't get pregnant, it is rubbish. Let me see now. All right, thank you very much. But what kind of sick man would have look here. C6 Spy, we really don't want to deviate on that channel because that is going to be something else again that I'll have to call out my forensic scientists to speak about the possibility of it happening. And because this is a real circumstance, we really don't want to dig up this case and try this case. We want to just look at it at its merit and treat it like that. All right. We really don't want, we're not going to try this case on this show. This is real people life and we don't want to play with people life like that. All right. So just leave it as it is and let us not trouble that as it is. Let it stay right where it is. All right. It happened in some other country. All right, very good. So a lot of persons here would have been, and this is not to, we are not belittling anyone. We are not trying the case. We are not casting judgment on anyone. All that we're doing, we're using the facts that exist to protect those who are here. We have heard of the statistics, I don't know if it is right across the Caribbean, where teenage pregnancy would have risen since COVID. I am teaching reproduction and I'm using the facts to present the case, not opinion. So I have directed you to places where you can find the facts. And in most cases, I am not telling you, I am allowing you from the many different countries to go and look for it so that you can be convinced, not by me, but by the literature that is readily available to everyone. All right, sir, I didn't have any signs when I was pregnant. I know about my baby 3 months. I had no signs or symptoms. There we go. And this is a real life show for those persons who are here. We talk about some of our experiences and just to help other persons. All right. When you come here, it's a little more than biology. Remember that everybody here is considered to be family. So this is a room of family. So we sort of talk and we don't chat and laugh after people. What you say, we use it as a learning experience and we move on. Oh, the dad had all. I have heard of that. And it is called, you could research this, Martin, it is called phantom pregnancy. When a male has all the signs and symptoms, it's called phantom pregnancy. You could research that. Remember, in some countries, children get married at a very early age. That is also true, and that is going to be something when I am teaching about population for HSB. I am going to shed my light on that. It might not be the prettiest light, but I'm going to be shedding my light. And Mr. Wilson usually shed his light and have his disclaimer. All right, Martin, me either. I found out I was pregnant close to mama 7 months. There we go. You see these experiences? I don't know these persons. Nobody here know me. They just see me online. All right, thanks. All right, good. Macmillan, there are women who get pregnant and still see, that is true, their period before they actually find out they are pregnant. That is so true as well. A whole lot being communicated here. Same experience. Had my menses first 3 months of my pregnancy. I is here saying, "Hi, Daddy, I can teach better than you." I tell you. All right, so you see the many experiences here. We're doing reproduction. She started menstruating at age 8. At age 8 months and was raped at 5. All right, am I? Guys, please don't put anything more about the people in my life in the show. I really don't want persons to see the show and feel any kind of cute way. That is not the objective of what we're doing. So we don't want, if persons want to find out more about it, let them go and read. I could tell you about any Dominican in the room, because this is going to be another tough one. And then I'm going to go into the show, and I'm not going to give you any more trivia. If you want to go research people's life and come back, come make people feel one kind of way. I don't want to do that. And the show, we have a lot of time leave. We have almost 45 minutes there about leave. Let me see now. Any cycle thought it was stress from mighty Jesus. That is what the little teenagers say. They say it is stress, and the COVID stressing them. They don't know that they're pregnant, and then whatever happens. But for me, if you've ever seen any of these, or if you happen to see any of these persons, please lend them a helping hand. Not that we're saying that this is supposed to be the case, but that we believe in life and we're going to secure and protect life in all possible ways that we can. All right, life is life. That's it for me. Life is life. All right, so I asked about Dominican. There is a case. I think it is in Dominica. If you're a Dominican and if it's not so the case, go forgive me. I think, let me say, I think, where a boy grows up as a girl until about age 12, the penis start growing. I don't remember the story so full 100, but you can research it and tell Mr. Wilson about it. I think it is in Dominica, where a girl become a boy at about age 12. Probably something like that you can use and find it. But me finish talk about them trivia, you know. Yes. I finished talking about those trivias. I'm going to go right back into the lesson. I don't want to steal the show with all of these wow moments. All right, and I will join me for a sec. I'm saying hi to the guys. You're not saying hi? You're not smiling for them? Oh, you smile. You're showing them a gap, telling them you have one on the brand. Hey, they're saying hi. You want an eyeglass? No. All right, you just can pay attention and then, all right? He's able to do this. So we tend to communicate like that, like a croton lizard every now and then. He goes, and I go. I should tell him. He's blushing. All right, so we continue. All right, so we are now going to be looking at, of course, the male reproductive system. And we want to start out by looking at the physical, that which we can see. All right, and you probably would have seen it in a book. I won't say anything more than that. If you have never seen a real one, looking at a book, that is good enough for now. All right, time will come when everything will reveal. Everything that is in the darkness will definitely come to the light. All right. So the penis is this elongated organ or this extended organ that protrudes from the male, right, at the lower portion. Now, some female, some guys, you just keep pulling me into all of these science jokes. Some females tend to say that men are not real men. We are actually women because all that we have, that thing that we consider to be a penis, is just a hybrid clitoris. I hear females saying that when you go some science class, you're not going. All right. See you later. Bye bye. All right. Good. All right. So some women like to say that, hey, you know that you should be thankful for me because what you have there is just an enlarged clitoris. You're a woman just like me. I hear women saying that. All right. So the penis is this elongated or this long protruding organ from the male, and it falls pretty much in the region of the pelvic girdle. Remember, we did the skeletal system, and then through the penis, there is a tube that runs through the penis that is called the urethra. And it is pretty much responsible, as it were, for reproduction, for the discharge of sperms. And if we're looking at excretion, it is responsible for getting rid of human. Sir, yes, it is in Dominica. Okay, cool. So, guys, you can see the whole lot of trigger. Sir, it is hard to remember the function of a male reproductive. I'm not going to let them take you on into the room, but we're going to go get into the lesson. Never mind. I am going to be treating with that, and you're going to be remembering everything before we leave. And that is why we have such a small lesson and so much joke in the middle. All right, so just below the penis, there is this sac that hangs outside of the body. We call it the scrotal sac, right? And it hangs outside of the body because it needs to be at a lower temperature than the body itself. Now, while you can see these two parts, there is also inside of that scrotum sac two little guinea seed type of, I know that some island don't call it guinea, they call it ackee, but there are two little seeds like structure. They are not seeds, they are seed like structure, just for you to remember. And these are called the testes. Right? So there are two little things, they are called the testes. Now, usually they are supposed to come down in the sac, but there are some persons, because of whatever reason, one might come down, one might not come down, or whatever. So if you have a baby and they are not down, you have to check to ensure that the baby, they are there. And if they are not there, you want to talk to your pediatrician or talk to the doctor to find out what is happening. All right. So those persons who made mention of their kids, you really want to ensure that that is all in place. Now, the testes, which are in the scrotal sac, they call them balls. They are also called balls, and they call them also the other stuff. All right. The testes, which are in the scrotal sac, they have a coil tube inside of them, which is called the seminiferous tubule. This coil inside of the testes is called the seminiferous tubule. Now, the sperms is actually made in this region of the testes. The sperms is actually made in this part of the testes. So we spoke about the seminiferous tubule, and we're talking now about the sperms being made in the testes, and we talk about the seminiferous tubule. Now, on the outside of the testes, there is, of course, what is called the epididymis. And it is the epididymis that stores the sperms. It is the epididymis that stores the sperms. So the seminiferous tubule is in the testes, and that is where the sperm is made. But the epididymis is where the sperm is stored. Martin, if I were supposed to answer you, it would be lying. I really don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. It might be the case. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. But you could research and tell me. I said seminiferous. Seminiferous. Oh, spell it for you. No, there's a Y missing for the epididymis. So the seminiferous is spelled SEMINIFEROUS. F-E-R-O-U-S, seminiferous. S-E-M-I-N-I-F-E-R-O-U-S. And the epididymis is spelled E-P-I-D-Y-M-I-S. Beautiful. Then, having spoken about, let us go through the scrotum again. All right, let us go to the scrotum again. I hope that there is no kid in the room. If you are doing CXC biology, even at grade 9, you can follow the content, because I am not being rude. I'm not being facetious. I am teaching the content as you'd find it in a textbook. All right, so don't think I'm going off tangent. So you have that scrotal sac that is hanging. If you were supposed to look at a bull, a cattle, you'd see the scrotum hanging just behind him there. All right, the easiest, if you have never seen one, that's a good place to look at one, as a lower class animal, the dog or so on. So you see the scrotal sac. And in the scrotal sac, you're going to have two little things looking like a little seed, a little ball, that type of thing. And these are called the testes. And in the testes, you are going to find some coil tubes that are called seminiferous tubule. It is within this region of the testes that the sperms is, of course, made. Now, the sperms having been made in the testes, it is going to be stored in the epididymis. Now, some of these words are going to take your 500 pack paper where you will have to write them out to remember. Now, the sperm having stored in the epididymis, the sperm is going to leave the epididymis to the urethra via what we call the vas deferens, or the sperm duct. So it's going to leave the epididymis and it's going to go on up there, and of course it's going to join pretty much the urethra just below the bladder there. All right. Thank you. No problem. Not too sure where we're going with that. All right. Now, there are some glands that are associated with the reproductive system in male. There is the prostate gland. There is the Cooper's gland. We could talk about the seminal, I think the seminal vesicle. We could talk about that as well. Now, these are very, very important. 60 mark for spellings. Somebody's asking if 60 marks for spelling. Now, if you were supposed to spell urethra and you spell urethra, that is wrong. But suppose you were supposed to spell urethra and you probably leave out that H, and it's still pronounced urethra. They won't kill you for science for that spelling, because it's a Caribbean exam, regional exam, and for some reason, from island to island, we might spell like pretty much the way we talk. All right. So, but if it's an English exam, it's going to be different. So don't go spelling a word that should spell XYZ, you spell it ZYX. That is way out. All right. Seminal vesicle, good question. All right, good question. All right. All right, so we continue. Now, they produce what we refer to as seminal fluid, and that's just like a capsule for it, to make seminal fluid. And in the seminal fluid, you are going to have enzymes and nutrient. Now, the enzyme and nutrient is there to activate the sperm. And of course, I think they are somewhat alkaline, I think it is somewhat alkaline. I don't remember. I really don't remember that. So that's not gospel. When I tell you things, if I don't remember, I really don't remember. And they are very, very important with, of course, the sperm being able to carry out its function. Please be reminded that the vagina is acidic. Did we know that? You know that the vagina is acidic? Tell me in the chat, yes, no? Now, while you tell me about that, the sperm travels in what we refer to as semen. And one of the questions that was asked earlier is whether or not, let me see that, a person could become pregnant by pre-cum. And of course, the person was using their local tongues to say pre-cum. All right, so the semen is what carries the sperm. And because the semen is carrying the sperm, we cannot say for sure when there is sperms inside the semen. So when we talk about pre-cum, it's not the pre-cum as you would call it, or the pre-sperm phase. All right, it's not the pre-sperm phase. It's actually the sperm being in the pre-sperm phase. Under normal circumstances, it should not happen, but there's always anomaly. Of course, so the vagina is somewhat acidic. And we could get back, somebody asked about pregnancy, and when we get back to that, we could chat a lot about that. Let us continue. Then we have the urethra, which carries the sperm and, of course, urine. And the urethra goes through the penis, and, of course, it would be responsible for emptying that sperms in the vagina during copulation. We spoke about the urethral muscle, and they contract around the urethra in the penis in order for ejaculation of sperms to take place. You probably wouldn't have seen the urethral muscle a great deal on your diagram, but they are there, and in some diagram you might see something that says the sinus, and the sinus will speak to a little cavity that will be filled with blood, that type of a thing. And then we have what is called the erectile tissue. And then the erectile tissue is responsible for making the penis stiff or tough, whichever one you want. But remember, the takeaway here is that the penis does not have any bone. Now, there's what we refer to as the foreskin on the penis, that is at the top of the penis there, and it is also called the pre pre prepuce. Now, this area is usually removed. This area, I'm not too sure where you're going with that, Martin. This area is usually removed in some male as a result of circumcision. Now, there we have some noise on the outside. That's a motor car passing again. I have no control. I don't know how soon it will leave or if it's leaving. But like I say, in Jamaica, we're very, very festive. And from time to time, you hear these things passing. I live just right beside the road. So I really don't have a studio. So I am always affected by the noise passing. And in some cases, I have to go out and ask them to turn it off. I'm hoping it won't be the case this evening. Because if it's the case, I'll have to end the show to do that, or else YouTube is going to say, hey, copyright infringement, you're playing somebody's song. I am not playing the song. It's a car on the outside passing. All right, the female reproductive system, we want to start with what is called, I want to start with what is called the vulva. Not the vulva, you know, the vulva. So that part that you're looking on the outside, and some person might say the labia. That part that you're looking on is called the vulva. VULVA. On the outside, the part you're looking on there on the outside is called the vulva. All right. Then as you go between the cleavage or the invagination there, and you get inside there, you are going to have the clitoris on the outside there, and just below the clitoris, you are going to have the opening to the vagina. Now, for women who are virgins, as it is called, they are supposed to have a sheet, a membrane that partially covers that area. And of course, it is called the hymen. Now, it is also true that these women could also have the hymen being broken by strenuous activity, or if they ride bicycle, or if they do gymnastic, or if they do the splitting and the dance and all of these fancy dancing, they could of course break your hymen. In some of these classes, persons might come down bleeding and they might think that they are seeing their period, but it's actually because of the hymen being broken. Then you get on into the vagina, which is pretty much a muscular canal. Yes, it's pretty much a muscular canal, and it's of course a passageway to the uterus. And then on the way to the uterus, you're going to find a muscular ring covering the opening, or at the end of the lower opening of the uterus. A muscular ring is there that is referred to as the cervix. It's at the lower end. And then as you pass through the cervix and you go into this pear-shaped organ, it's called the uterus. At the both top side of the uterus like this, you are going to have the fallopian tubes attaching itself to both sides of the uterus. And then at the end of a fallopian tube, or what we call oviduct, you will have the ovaries. Now, it's important to know that at the end of the fallopian tubes on this side, it is open like a funnel to, of course, collect that egg as soon as it is released from the ovary. Now, it is in the ovary that the ova are made. All right? That's where the ova. So now we want to look a little deeper at what we refer to as the fallopian tube. This tube coming down here, we want to look a little closer at it. Now, the first thing I want to tell you, and this is something you need to remember. Fertilization, the fusion of a male and female gamete. I don't want to tell you anything. You know everything. Tell me in the chat there, where does fertilization take place? Now we talk about fertilization, we're talking about the fusion of a male and female gamete. The ovum and the spermatozoon. Where does fertilization take place? All right, so the fallopian tube, is there anything else? The fallopian tube, we want to know where fertilization takes place. That's a very, very important CXC question. Fallopian tube, oviduct. So oviduct is another name for the fallopian tube. All right, oviduct. Is there anybody else who have a different idea as to where fertilization takes place? Some persons are saying oviduct, some persons are saying fallopian tube. Is it the oviduct or is it the fallopian tube? A fertilization takes place in the oviduct or in the fallopian tube? Which? Help me out here. You know I'm the slow guy here. Yeah, but Walker, I'm seeing that. But I'm the slow guy here. So I want to know if fertilization takes place in the oviduct or does it take place in the fallopian tube? I want some help here. Just provide me with some assistance. You guys have been really great since night. Remember, if you have not yet liked, share, or subscribe, it is time to do so now. And if you are out there in distant land, please join us and let's have a grand time. We're having fun learning science. Oh, they are the same thing. I'm always saying that they are the same thing. Martin is saying oviduct, the first third. It is the same thing, sir. Oviduct, sir. Fallopian tube, sir. Yes. I was very deliberate on that because on the multiple choice question, sometimes we see these things and we get carried away. Which of them will take place now again? Is it the oviduct or the fallopian tube? It's pretty much the same thing. Synonym. It's pretty much the same thing. So if you say fallopian tube or oviduct, you're referring to the same part of the body. All right, we're going to look at the ovary. We want to look now at the ovary. So we looked at the fallopian tube a while ago, and we said that I said a lot of things about the fallopian tube. I said that at one end it has an opening like a funnel. I said that it is in the fallopian tube that fertilization takes place. And I also said that the egg or the ovum is able to move because of some cilia in the fallopian tube that pretty much flickers and cause the egg to move. I also said that a fallopian tube is connected to both sides of the ovary, both sides of the uterus, the same place that we call the womb. All right, so it's connected to both sides there in the abdomen. I don't know if I need to say this, but males have two fallopian tube connecting to their ovaries as well, connecting to their uterus as well. Tell me in the chat there. The males, would they have two tubes connecting to their uterus or they would have one? Tell me in the chat. Would the males have 2 fallopian tube connecting to their uterus, or will they have 1? Macmillan, why you laughing at me, Macmillan? It's a serious question. Oh, you're seeing 1, only 1. Okay, so Martin is saying only 1 fallopian tube that the male would have connected to their uterus. Jawawan is saying 1. Oh, I see. Can there be 2 eggs released in a female? Yes, that is possible. That has happened. And we're going to look at that when we look at pregnancy and so on. Okay. So Amoy is saying that males don't have uterus. All right. So as a teacher, that's what we do. There are different ways of asking the question. So let me stop it here before we have the wrong concept being passed on. Please be reminded, guys, the uterus is something that is associated with females and not with males. The fallopian tube is only found in the female. It is not found in the male. All right. So it was pretty much a trick question. I wanted to see where you are with your thoughts. I wanted to see if you understood pretty much the difference between the male and the female reproductive system. So not because I pose it like it is so true, it doesn't mean that it is true. You have to be listening and following in the class in order to make sure that you give good answer. But if you didn't know, it is a good chance you've gotten just now to, of course, know. All right. So males really don't. Tanisha, where did they all this time? You know how long I'm gonna see you? All right. So the ovary. Sir, I'm laughing because I remember a Jamaican play that said that. Okay, you remember? I wonder which Jamaican play is that. All right, let me just beat it over for you. Not that I am laughing at anyone. No, that's fine. That's fine. This was like a little time a person could laugh. All right, the ovary. The ovary, pretty much. The ova. They are pretty much developed in what we refer to as follicles. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what you said, but it's held for review. I'm not too sure what happened there. So the ova, the egg, develops in what we call follicles. Now, a follicle is pretty much a cavity or a sac or a gland. Any of those could use to pretty much could be likened to a follicle. So you know that a cavity is like a depression or a little sac or a gland. Very festive. Those are kids outside. And of course, when they are mature, these follicles, they are referred to as the Graffian Follicle. Follow me. Now, when fully mature, the egg, of course, will move to the surface and it will be released. All right. So when fully mature, it will release an ovum. The Graffian follicle, when it is fully mature, it will release an ovum. If you don't understand this, I will go through it again. The ovary is not the easiest thing for a lot of persons because it's seldomly taught. All right. Once the egg is released, this process is called ovulation. And an egg is going to be released as soon as we have mature Graffian follicle and an egg that is mature, then it will be released. Now, the follicle will then form what we refer to as corpus luteum. Now, corpus luteum is pretty much just a mass of cells. It's just a mass of cell. And this mass of cell has the responsibility of producing progesterone. Now, a bike again. The corpus luteum will remain only if pregnancy occurs. It is also true that in the corpus luteum, you could have some cysts. And these cysts could actually cause the woman to feel serious pains. I know that I'm going to get a lot of that just now in the chat. Could cause them to feel a lot of serious pain. Now, if pregnant, the corpus luteum will become bigger and it will secrete hormones. It will become bigger and secrete hormone. Now, the ovary will secrete estrogen, and estrogen is responsible for a female's secondary sexual characteristics like growing breasts, pubic hair, putting on the fat where it's supposed to go, and all of those fancy dancy. Estrogen plays a vital role in order for this to happen. Now, estrogen also prepares the uterus wall and also control menstruation. These are some important points for you to know as we move further into the lesson, and we are going to be looking at menstruation, not today. We are going to be looking at fertilization now. Sir, I want to ask a question. How come a woman does not end up with male? How comes a woman does end up with male hormone? But as far as I know, there are some hormones that are common to both male and female. The thing about it is that there is sometimes an overproduction of a particular hormone, and that would cause a problem. But this is something I love to ventilate when we look at pregnancy and we look at the menstrual cycle, where we can look at all the hormones and we could pretty much dissect and show you what is happening, why a woman would grow facial hair and all of these fancy dancy. So as soon as I get there, ask me the question again if I forget to answer, and I will treat with it for you. What is cyst, sir? And does it have to do with fibroid? Persons could call a fibroid a cyst. So it's pretty much a growth, abdominal, abnormal growth. A cyst is not an abnormal growth. So of course a fibroid would be a cyst. All right, because I got both. However, the fibroid might be a little more extreme than a cyst. They will say to you, the doctor, oh, it's just a little cyst, it will go away. And it doesn't grow away, and it grows and it ends up in what person will call a fibroid. All right? So that type of thing. And the fibroid thing seems to be a typical thing for Jamaican, for Caribbean women, and more so if you don't have children. It seems that if women who really, they tend to end up with this condition more than women who. All right, good. I guess you get the drift. All right. So with fertilization, we had already exhausted that it takes place in the oviduct, which is the same place as my doctor told me it's because of POPs, but I don't think so. Sure, I grow facial hair also in my chest. I am going to be talking about all that when we are looking at the hormones. All right. So when we get there, we are going to talk about that. And if there's anything that can be done, we'll also speak about that there. All right. So fertilization takes place in the oviduct. Sperm fuses, of course, with the egg there. Polycystic ovaries syndrome. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. So in fertilization, I think I covered that already. For fertilization to take place, of course, sperms has to be ejaculated. Our sperm must enter that region. And if it were the penis, then we spoke about the arteries dilating and the vein constricting and the muscle contract around the urethra. We said that about twice in the lesson. And of course, the uterus will contract as well. I think we exhaust that. What is here for us to look at? We spoke about the sperm entering the egg as well. and it enters with the head going in first and losing the tail. I also told you about the acrosome, which produces enzymes, which of course help the sperm to penetrate the ovum. So the acrosome is very, very important there. I also told you that only one sperm can enter the egg, and there's of course a chemical change in the membrane. One sperm would have entered the egg, and this would have prevented other sperms from entering. I did not tell you, however, that having been fertilized, now the egg becomes a zygote. I can't say my letters, the letters of the alphabet well, but you could tell me what is the last letter in the alphabet. What's the last letter in the alphabet? I'm sure everybody is saying X, Y, because we really don't know the letters of the alphabet. If you want to find it out, you have to like X, Y, Z, Z, yeah, yeah. So this is one and probably the only case, you see, where the last letter of the alphabet is first. So we pretty much started out after we really fused, we pretty much became a zygote. And if there's any reason for you to figure out what is the first step, is it the zygote? Is it the fetus? Just remember that this is one of the cases where Z comes first. So the zygote is, of course, first. Now, after fertilization would have taken place, or if there's fertilization, the next thing that is going to come is going to be implantation. So remember, fertilization is taking place in the fallopian tube. Then the egg is going to come down onto now the uterus. And of course, it is going to be implanted in the walls of the uterus. Now, the corpus luteum will, of course, secrete progesterone to prepare the uterus for this zygote. Now, the walls of the uterus will become thick, and it will, of course, get an additional supply of blood. So the blood supply will, of course, increase. And then as it increases, and of course, the zygote there, the ball, fertilized ball, they are coming down from the fallopian tube into the uterus. It will continue to divide, continue to divide, continue to divide. And this division is as a result of mitosis, and then it becomes all implanted in the walls of the uterus. Guess what? We are at the end of today's lesson. In our next class, we're going to be looking at pregnancy, and we will look at the menstrual cycle, I think, and we will look, I'm not too sure, we might get to birth contraceptive, but we're going to be looking at them in details and talking about some norms and so on and so forth as we go through. All right, so a lot was covered today. Thank you very much for joining me. It is, of course, always a pleasure to have you here. I know some persons have to leave for other classes, and I know in most cases, persons have school tomorrow, because tomorrow is, of course, I think the 22nd, and for some persons, school will restart online. Some persons will be going face to face, and there are some persons who are now holding their heads and saying, "Oh my, I thought school would have been open. That's why I did not finish my labs. Sorry, that's why I wasn't studying. That's why I didn't do the past paper." But guess what? I was always telling you the truth and guiding you along the path of success. Now, it's never too late for a shower rain. So you could start today and still earn that one. We were able to put up the 2018 biology past paper today. We will continue to try to make the best of the system that I have. It works very well for vlogging, but when it comes to using the software to edit the videos and so on, we're having issues. No, I am, let me see what's happening here. Let me just take some chat. I think I said I was going to answer some little stuff at the end that has to do with the topic for this week. Thanks, sir. Really appreciate it. My pleasure. School's still closed here. Online classes. Martin, remind me again, where are you? In Jamaica, some schools are open, but pretty much where I work in that area there, my school is closed. All right, so I know that remember that you need to tell your classmates about the channel, and you need to study with somebody. Don't walk alone. All right, Study with somebody that you can call on. And when you are doing your past papers, make sure that you have good reasons for selecting the answer, and try as much as possible to get to the point where you can say, oh, this question is from that topic. If I read that topic, I can find that question. All right. Oh, from Grenada. Oh, I haven't seen any Grenada for some while. Charles, big up yourself and make sure that you come back. We're going to be here on Wednesday. Please be reminded that the show is live on a Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 5:05 p.m. It is free. Might I say free for now? Everybody here will be getting the show free until exams. I don't know what will happen for the next generation, but we are sure that you are going to be having the show free until the next exam. I don't know. Probably persons come on and they are in grade 10, they might get discount if there's a price to it or online, whatever. I'm not too sure where my producer will send me. But wherever the good Lord leads, definitely we will follow. This class today had me cracking up. Enjoyed, informative, but fun. Oh yeah, thank you very much. Every now and then, I tend to go off a tangent every now and then, but I tend to come back. You have to ensure, when I do, even though I usually tell my students, even if I come to the class and telling a story, if at the end you don't understand the story, ask me what is it about, because I really don't tell story unless they have something to do with the lesson. All right, but I tend to talk a lot of story around my lesson, and if you follow the storyline, you will get to the exam and remember, oh, sir was telling me about a story. All right, yes, guys, you're welcome. All right, beautiful, very informative, very good, very good. Guys, I think I like where we're going. The toughest thing I think we have left on the syllabus is the menstrual cycle. Other than that, it's memory. I still think that the menstrual cycle is not the easiest thing. All right, so we have a menstrual cycle to look at, and then we are into mitosis. Mitosis is going to be a walk because I'm going to teach you the real thing. I'm going to teach you a little bit beyond CXC, but I'm going to tie in what CXC wants you to know. But I think it's easier to learn mitosis beyond CXC, and then you sit the exam at the CXC level. That's fine. I enjoy it. Beautiful. That's my pleasure. That's what I want you to do. I want guys to enjoy, or you guys to enjoy the class. Come back, bring your friends. Of course, watch the videos, and I want you to learn. So when the exam results come out, I want you guys to be able to come back and say, sir, I got a 1, sir, I got a 1, that type of thing. All right. So it is free, and I want you to make good use of it. There are a lot of persons who can't afford to do classes. And for those persons, I am here waiting on them to join us. I had somebody joining me from, I think, Anova in Jamaica. I don't know if that person is online, but the person reached out to me, sent me a mail via email, and I tend to read all the letters. And the person was saying that they are not going to school, and of course, is that person here from Anova? Sir, I went through the 2018. Very good. I must go through it a couple of times to have it luck. I am praying for a 1. All right, it's going to take a little more than prior for the 1. You are going to, of course, do a lot of practice, do a lot of reading. And make sure that you're having fun. Follow my study guide. Ensure that you're having fun. It's not about just reading and becoming all flustered and can't manage and so on. And watch all this. One of the reasons I told you to study at least 5 past paper, you will observe sequence. You will observe sequence. And if you observe sequence, you'll be more comfortable going into the exam. Don't worry yourself. We have system problem. That is why a lot of papers are not out, but we're trying our best. I wish that somebody could send me one of those brand new computer in a box, and I could just pull it out, and I think a whole lot of my trouble would be no more. Simpson, are you the person from Anova? Sir, I've been watching the video. Learned a lot. Beautiful. Make sure that when you watch the video, guys, you have your book and you are making jottings. You are making notes. All right. Don't just go and just watch the video like a music video. You want to watch it and see how much you remember, build questions. And remember, I said that once you would have come to the live, go and watch a past paper. There must be a question on the past paper that you can answer from the live. I am sure of that. So just go through the live. Simpson. It's me from Anova. Beautiful. We're happy to have you here. We do hope that we are helping. Please have your classmates, your friends join us. Yeah, we really don't need to know their names and all of that, but we just usually ask where are you from to see our reach. Is there anybody here who would have heard my tone cry? Like you would have seen my car going through with a loudspeaker talking about the channel. If you are here, just let me know. I'm wondering if I've been reaching anyone. I plan to take a day to go over every video from day one. That's going to be a lot of video. It will take more than a day, Jawawan. So it's best you just start doing them one by one. The number of videos, this is volume 36. And some of the live, we did not number them. Plus, we have some 130 odd videos online. It will take you more than a day. If I were supposed to start playing those videos, it will take more than a day to complete. So remember, you were planning to talk about why it's difficult for some woman to get pregnant. Okay, that's the question. Anything I don't understand, I go to your videos. Beautiful. All right, I enjoy the session, sir. Very informative. Thank you. Yes, sir, I'm going. Thanks. All right, okay. So, reasons for women not getting pregnant. All right, the first obvious one, if I can be like a facetious student, is that the woman has not had sperms being fusing with the egg. But outside of that, forget that. A woman might have, and the reasons are so many, so many. It could be incompatibility with your partner. I have known of cases where a man would have had a child and the woman had none. They are together, and the woman is of the opinion that she's at fault, and having left that relationship, there's a whole lot of kids. So there could be incompatibility for a number of reasons. Now, I have also known of cases where both male and female would have gone to the doctor, and the doctor is saying, male, you are fine. Female, you are fine. But yet still they can't impregnate each other. There's some incompatibility. Sometimes it might be pH. Sometimes there are a whole lot of stuff. It might be a cyst. It might be fibroid. It could be hormone. And the reasons are so many. As just a teacher, I wouldn't be able to tell you all. I'm sure probably Google would be able to help you, or a medical practitioner, they would be able to give you pretty much a better understanding as to why women can't get pregnant. Now, abstinence, if there's abstinence and there's no artificial insemination, of course, a woman will not get pregnant. And I speak of artificial insemination because like I said earlier, it is not the penis that is getting any woman pregnant. It's always going to be the sperms. And we have what is called artificial insemination, which of course could cause a woman or cause any female to become pregnant if the sperms is introduced by some other method. I have known of cases where male and female, they can't have kids. They have to pay for a surgery. I think it's $1 million in order to have it's what in vitro or something like that, fertilization, and then they implant the egg, that type of thing. But the woman, the sperm just cannot impregnate the woman while it is inside the woman, so they have to do something else for the woman to get pregnant. But a whole lot of things could cause that. Sir, when are you coming to is Clarendon? Is. I usually come to Old Harbor. In a matter of fact, I was in Old Harbor yesterday, right at the edge of Clarendon. Yes, sir, I'm doing is. Is way down the south. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I know is. I've been there. I know is. Oviduct can be damaged. Oviduct can be damaged. Yes. Yes, sir. I realized by going through the papers. Beautiful. Contraceptive to some extent. Yeah, contraceptive could cause you not to become pregnant, and sometimes our diet. I think they say that guys, help me if you are from the country. I think they say that if a woman consumes papa seeds, she won't be able to get pregnant. Uh, your body could have more male hormones than female, or could be enlarged ovary, or lot of cysts. So all of these are plausible reasons for you can't see the one I read just now from Jawawan, but of course those are of course uh Help me out, Macmillan. What is IVF? Help me out. I am slow. I am very slow at that. Because I'm sure what I think it's not what it is. All right, good evening, Barnett. All right. There was something else I need to tell you about the videos. Now, I know that some persons are not tech savvy. They just rely on what they see on the front page of the screen. They probably can't get to the back end of my channel. If you see a video and you like the video, once you need to do is to click on the like. Once you click on the like, the video will be added to your playlist on YouTube. So when you go on YouTube, rather than coming to my channel every minute, you will see my videos on your playlist, because once you would have clicked like, the video is going to come to a playlist that is created on your system. All right. Type in oviduct. Once you have an enlarged ovary, you won't be able to. Okay. Oh, in vitro fertilization. Okay, cool. I heard green papa can prevent pregnancy. May even cause miscarriage. Papa Jesus, even though you hear them something they say, please not practice them. We've heard a lot of things. We've heard about Rusty Nail and Pepsi and all of these stuff. Guys, stay away from these people with this folklore here. Anything that happened to you that you don't know about, make sure you seek medical help from somebody who is certified to provide that help. Not like the persons who are, there were some persons in Jamaica, up in the parish of Upso, the Eastern Parish, that somebody was having some challenges and they go over there and they said that they could provide some amount of help. And you know what type of help they provided? They beat the person with Bible and board to death. So don't bother trying any one of those things that these persons say they have. We have no proof that what they would have said or what they are saying, we have no proof that it is working. So we really don't want to listen to what they have to say. All right, good. So you would have heard of the Bible on board beat, or you would have heard about the papa or something. But one of the things you must remember that papa is we use it to tenderize meat because it has this enzyme that helps to tender. I think it's protein or something like that. And if you put a green papa to your mouth, it is going to burn it up. Yeah, it's going to cause sore on the mouth. So you really don't even want to look at papa them way. The papa can be very dangerous when it green, very dangerous to the skin. All right, good. So we went through a whole lot of trivia today. I do hope that anybody for us, I think somebody said they found the article about the boy ejaculating in the water. And of course, you would have found, I think, the Dominica one. Oh, okay. Sorry, but it is true. It came on the news. Not that I want to frighten anyone, but it came on the news. Came on the news. Another common one that we're going to be talking about when we get to mutation is obia. So if a child was supposed to born and there's some amount of mutation and you are supposed to go back to the community, they will tell you about why the child look like the child looks and all of that. It's because of phobia where your grandfather, grandmother, grandsister, whomever, somebody on the family tree, they did something and God is showing you sign and all of that. That's how we explain mutation. Just like how we explain the burst of adrenaline in the blood, we explain it or we consider it to be when pitney shot take you. When trouble take you, pitney shot fit you. That's how we say it here. When you know, like somebody's escaping, you have a sudden burst of energy. When trouble take you, you do the impossible. That's what it means. When you are in trouble and to stay alive, you're going to be doing the impossible. That's what it means. Please be reminded to like, share, and subscribe if you have not yet. And when you subscribe, remember to hit that notification bell once you like the show. And of course, you want to share it with as many persons as you can. We're expecting to meet 60 persons today. We reached, I think, 26 on the channel. That was good, but we need to grow to at least 60. So I'm depending on you to carry on persons to be with us. Until Wednesday, take care and be reminded the show is on a Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 5:05 p.m. Be good.